Welcome back, fellow shop rats. It's another Talk About It Tuesday. It's an early one in January. Maybe this is our second, or could be the third. In reality, it is just before Christmas, and things are really busy, and I'm falling way behind on my production schedule already this year, and I don't like that at all. But I'm trying to turn out the content, but we got all kinds of stuff going on. My kids are home right now. The first time the four of us have been together in 7 years, so we're enjoying that. And you know what? You guys can wait because you won't see the difference. Won't say always, but generally, if I'm physically possible, we'll meet the deadline. Anyway, it's Talk About It Tuesday, and that's not what I want to talk about. Today, we've got an interesting topic. It's circling around to something we've talked about before. Let's watch the show intro. It takes you 4.7 seconds. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
I know we've talked about it before, and I suppose it's like beating a dead horse, but you know what? It's my channel, and it's my horse, so I'll do with it what I want.
Although I do get a lot of suggestions from other people about what they want to do to the horse I rode in on, but never mind about that.
Our subject matter today, if I would get to the point, is we all have to make decisions in our projects. Are we going to make it perfect, or are we just going to make it done? Now, sometimes we need to make it perfect, and sometimes we need to make it done, and that's not a new subject here. However, I'm coming at this from a little different perspective today because of something that happened to a good friend of mine over at Bulletproof Garage. He is in the middle of building a Challenger. I think it's a 73 or a 74 that he picked up for $500, basically a scrap metal car, a lot more complete than Stitches. I've actually bought some of the dash parts for Stitches from him. And he had the brilliant idea, and he's a lot smarter than I am and a lot more creative. He had the brilliant idea to take the Challenger body, strip everything out of it, and set it down on a Dodge Dakota chassis. Now you can just imagine that when he did that project and he was sharing it on YouTube, the fuse was lit, and inevitably somebody was going to blow up over that, and sure enough, it did. He gets flamed for the stuff he does, just like I get flamed for the stuff that I do. Sometimes I think we're the Byrne brothers. One comment in particular that struck my funny bone and I could really relate to, a guy was going off on how he completely ruined a Challenger, and he should have just taken that car and sold it to somebody who was going to do it right. And he doesn't really have a Challenger. He's got a Dodge Dakota with different sheet metal and blah, 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 blah. We've heard it all before. His car, he can do whatever he wants with it. But here's what I love about that build. He took a $500 Dakota and a $500 Challenger and married them together, made a pretty cool looking ride, and he got the thing done for like $1,500, and it runs and drives, and I'm sure he'll have it on the road by this summer, and he doesn't have a ton of time into it. Brilliant as far as I'm concerned to take a car that was mostly beyond repair. I know none of them are totally beyond repair, but I mean it was bad, really bad. And of course I'm kind of happy about it too because I bought a bunch of parts from him for Stitches. But I think it's just awesome and really is the true spirit of the hot rodder, the DIY shop. Not the purist, not the perfectionist, the guy who just wants to get her done. As you've heard me say before, ad nauseum, if it was a 1970 Sassy Grass Green AAR Cuda, I probably would have been a little bit disappointed that he did it that way. But I certainly wouldn't go off on the guy because it is his car, and I would be a hypocrite because I cut up a perfectly good 68 Dart GTS 340 car and made it a pro street car. So, I always say that it takes anybody can cut up a cheap car. It takes a real man to cut up a valuable car. But truth be told, he's doing it his way. He's building it to enjoy. He's enjoying what he's doing. He's having fun. And he's not spending hardly any money on it. And he saved a Challenger from the junk. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, as far as I'm concerned. Now, he did make a decision whether he knew it or not. And I'm sure he does know this. He's a lot smarter than I am. Was he going to make it perfect, or was he going to make it done? And he obviously chose to make it done. He used what he has at his disposal. He certainly could afford to do a full-blown restoration on this car, but that's not what he enjoys doing. He enjoys taking junk and turning it into really cool stuff. And I think that's just awesome. I have no problem with somebody who wants to make it perfect. Now, I know nobody's going to make it perfect with a car in that condition in probably less than 5 years, unless you're paying a professional shop to do it. If you're doing it yourself, it's definitely going to take you 5 or 10 years. More power to somebody that wants to do that. But I have so much respect for somebody who looks at what they have, isn't just going to throw money at the project, and get her done. Now, we're obviously talking extremes here with throwing it on a Dakota chassis. And, oh yeah, he's got other really, really cool bastardized projects like that as well. And I think it's awesome. And some people go to that right extreme, and most of us are somewhere in between. But que sera, sera. If you're having fun and you're getting it done, I mean, at the end of the day, ultimately this stuff is all going to rust into the ground and all be gone. And anybody that doesn't think so, that 1,000 years from now, most of these cars are going to be long gone, abandoned. Family members aren't going to want them, and that's another subject I've got to do a talk about it Tuesday on. It's on the list, I promise. But in the meantime, he's enjoying his life, and he's enjoying what he has, and he's doing what he's really good at. So I would encourage you, and I would challenge you to look at your project and say, where do I need to just get her done, and where do I need to get her perfect? You have some things that you're not going to compromise on. You have some things you don't care about. And you shouldn't care if somebody else cares about what you don't care about. It's their opinion, and you know what they say about opinions. It's a lot like belly buttons, only, no, it's a different body part. It stinks. So my challenge with today's Talk About It Tuesday is, if you have a project that you're working on, look at it objectively and say, in the timeline, am I being too perfectionistic? In the timeline and in my resources, are my expectations too high? In the timeline that I have, should I be getting it perfect, or should I just be getting it done? Do I enjoy it being in the garage for 10 or 15 years not driving it? Or am I just excited to get the car back on the road and make it safe and make it done? Somewhere in there, you may find places where you're being too perfectionistic, and other places you may find where maybe you need to raise your standards a little bit. But only you can decide that, because it is your project. So let's make that our discussion topic. Let's make that our point for reflection. That's your homework. All right, that's going to do it for this one. There's going to be a lot more coming. I've got a whole long list of Talk About It Tuesdays for Season 5 of
My Car Shop.
We will catch you on the next one. Let's make this the best year ever.
Rock!